With the MacBook Neo, for the first time ever, you can buy a MacBook new from Apple for $599. But for that price, do you get a true MacBook, or is it just too good to be true? I've been using and testing the MacBook Neo for the past 3 weeks, and today I'm going to share with you what the MacBook Neo is and what it is not, all to help you decide if it's the right move for you. The MacBook Neo comes in 2 versions. There's the 256GB version and a 512GB version, which also adds Touch ID. I chose the 256GB model, and for most people, I think this is the better value option, but if you need the extra storage and Touch ID, the extra $100 is reasonable. The MacBook Neo comes in 4 colors, and I opted to go for this beautiful indigo blue. I like it. It's unique but still understated, so it works well in any environment. It can show some fingerprints, but these are easy to wipe off. I'll leave the purchase links down below. Let me know in the comments which color of the Neo is your favorite, and if you are enjoying this video so far, a like and a sub to the channel would be amazing. Now, throughout this review, there are some wow moments and some reality check moments. And this is one of the wow moments. When I first picked up the MacBook Neo, it felt just like any other Mac, whether it be my wife's MacBook Air or even my $4,000 MacBook Pro. Side by side, it doesn't feel like the budget option. Instead, it fits right in. The full aluminum enclosure feels cool to the touch and solid in the hand, no cheap plastics in sight. The hinge opens effortlessly with one hand and locks firmly into place at any angle. And under normal use, there's practically no chassis or keyboard flex, something you often see on Windows laptops at this price. From a build quality perspective, the Neo really feels like a proper MacBook, and this gives me great confidence that it will physically hold up well for years to come. The Neo uses Apple's reliable Magic Keyboard with good tactile feedback and enough travel for fast, comfortable typing. I also like the color-matched keys. But the compromise is the keyboard has no backlight. Now, do I miss this? Occasionally. Not when touch typing, but for those moments where I need to reposition or do a specific keyboard shortcut, at night it can be harder to see. Now, the brightness of the screen can help illuminate the keys a bit, but it's not the same. And unlike the 512GB version, on the 256GB version, there's no Touch ID. And if you're used to having it like me, you will likely miss it. A good workaround is unlocking your Mac automatically using your Apple Watch if you've got one. The trackpad is very strong. It's multi-touch, so great for things like pinch to zooming in photos or web pages. The palm rejection is excellent, and for the size of the Neo, it's roomy and never feels cramped. But unlike higher-end Macs, this uses a physical click instead of a haptic one, and this means that the click is slightly louder and requires a bit more force. That said, compared to most Windows laptops at this price, this is still one of the best trackpads you'll find. And on this trackpad, you can still click anywhere on the surface. In terms of ports, the MacBook Neo has 2 USB-C ports, but these are not equal. The first port is USB 3 for up to 10 gigabit speeds and external display support, while the second port is USB 2, meaning it's much slower and really only good for charging or more basic accessories. So if you're plugging in hard drives or displays, you'll want to make sure to use that first port. The third and last port is a headphone jack. Now, these speakers on the Neo are solid. There's good clarity and also volume, just lacking a little bit in the bass department. Have a listen. Like the design, the display too is one of the Neo's strongest features for the price. But it's also an area where Apple made some deliberate downgrades compared to the MacBook Air and MacBook Pro. At 13 inches, it is slightly smaller than the Air and the Pro, but macOS scales very well. I have to say, the 13-inch size really is ideal for travel. It's easy to throw in a bag or even use on a tiny airplane table. The Liquid Retina display still has rounded corners, so it looks modern. It is very sharp at 219 ppi, so text is crisp, and very bright with up to 500 nits. Now, while it is not as bright as some of the higher-end MacBooks, it is still bright enough to use indoors and even outdoors, say on a cloudy day. And it is much brighter than most Windows laptops at this price, which are typically around the 250 nit mark. Another thing I love about this display is the color accuracy. While it doesn't support the wider P3 color range like on higher-end MacBooks, the Neo still gets a strong 8-bit sRGB panel for rich, true-to-life colored output. This means that when you're editing photos, videos, watching videos, or even gaming, you know that this is a display you can count on. Also, you may have noticed the Neo doesn't have a notch, and this gives you a clean and uninterrupted display. But the trade-off is slightly thicker bezels compared to the Air and the Pro. It is also a 60Hz screen, not 120Hz like on the Pro, so isn't as smooth, and there's also no True Tone, but this is not essential. All in all, this is a premium display in the areas that matter most. It is sharp, bright, as well as accurate. The 1080p FaceTime camera is sharp with good colors and exposure. There is no center stage, but it's still one of the best webcams you'll find at this price. The dual mic setup also does a great job at keeping your voice clear. Now, let's talk about performance, as this contains both wow factors as well as reality checks. The MacBook Neo uses Apple's A18 Pro chip, originally from the iPhone 16 Pro. Yes, we live in a world where Apple puts an iPhone chip in a Mac and a Mac chip in an iPad. Anyway, for everyday tasks, the MacBook Neo is very fast. For example, I can have 10 apps open, 20 plus tabs in Chrome and Safari, 4K YouTube videos playing, music, several documents, all running on multiple desktops all day, and the Neo doesn't break a sweat. Really, for the majority of people, the MacBook Neo delivers more than enough performance. Let's take this one step further and load up a couple games. In Minecraft, the Neo runs good, but not great. If I set the render distance to 12, it averages around 60 FPS. Not spectacular, but still very much playable. I even installed Cyberpunk 2077, and it runs at a solid 30 to 40 FPS. Of course, resolution and graphic settings are lower, but if I had to compare it, I would say from a visuals perspective, running Cyberpunk on the Neo is similar, if not one step better, compared to running it on the Switch 2 in handheld mode, not docked. So overall, not bad. Also, you have to remember that the Neo doesn't have a fan, so no matter what you're doing, it stays whisper quiet. And despite not having a fan, it also never gets uncomfortably warm on your lap either. But what about creative workflows, like say editing videos in Final Cut Pro? Now, normally speaking, I edit my videos off an external Thunderbolt 4 drive, but since the Neo doesn't support Thunderbolt, my specific drive wouldn't even mount. So I had to either use a slower USB 3 drive or edit the project locally off the MacBook Neo, which is what I ended up doing. And once I did that, Final Cut Pro ran very well. It played my 4K timeline smoothly, even adding effects like magnetic masks or color grading all worked perfectly. To be clear, rendering and exports do take noticeably longer than on my N4 Max MacBook Pro, but this is also to be expected. In Lightroom, editing photos, it's a similar story. You can absolutely edit raw photos on this Mac. It will just take a bit longer, especially things like layer selection or using AI tools. Just go in with the right expectations. And now let's talk about the RAM situation, because this is one of the biggest limitations of the Neo. It comes with 8 GB of unified memory. This is the same across both versions and is not upgradable. So is 8 GB enough? Well, as we saw, for light to moderate use, yes. And a big reason for this is how efficient macOS is with memory, and also something called swap memory. This is where the Neo temporarily uses the SSD to offload data when the RAM starts to fill up, helping keep things running smoothly. And most of the time, this works really well. But if you start pushing the system harder with heavier apps, lots of multitasking, or combining heavy and light apps and switching between them frequently, you will begin to feel the system slow down to where things just aren't as snappy. Also, for the swap memory to work properly, you do need to keep some free storage available. I always recommend keeping around 20 to 30% of your SSD free to minimize slowdowns. Buying a MacBook also gives you access to the Apple ecosystem, and if you have multiple Apple devices, there really is a lot that you can do. For example, iPhone mirroring lets you fully control your iPhone within your Neo. AirDrop remains to be the best way to easily send files between Apple devices. Your calendar, notes, reminders, passwords all sync seamlessly across devices. And I could go on, but that would be an entirely separate video. The point is, this level of deep integration is something that Apple does like no other. Battery life on the MacBook Neo is impressive. In the real world, it comfortably lasts a full day with around 10 hours of screen on time with normal tasks. If you are editing videos or playing games, the battery will run out faster, but even then, I get around 5 to 6 hours of use out of it. In my experience, you can leave the house without a charger and not worry, and this is exactly what you want from a lightweight laptop like this. It's not quite at the level of the MacBook Air, but is closer than you'd expect given the smaller battery. Now, let's talk about charging, because this is where one of the compromises comes in. The Neo charges via USB-C, so no MagSafe, and it uses a 20-watt charger. On the one hand, this charger is very small, good for travel, but charging is also noticeably slower than on other MacBooks. So if you're quickly topping up before heading out, it's not going to give you that quick boost. Also, depending on where you live, you may not even get a charger in the box. Here in the UK and the EU, Apple doesn't even include a charger in the box, so you either have to buy one separately or use an existing USB-C charger, which especially for a MacBook feels to me like you're missing something pretty essential. An area where Apple consistently delivers is software support. While they don't give an exact number, most Macs receive around 5 to 7 years of macOS updates, so for the MacBook Neo, you can realistically expect it to be supported well into the early 2030s. Now, because it uses an iPhone chip as opposed to an M series chip, it may reach its limits a little bit sooner, but overall, this is a Mac that should comfortably last you for many years. Should you buy the MacBook Neo? Well, as we've seen throughout this video, this laptop impresses with many wow moments. From the build quality, the display, the everyday performance, and battery life all feel far more premium than the $599 price would suggest. But then there's also the reality checks. The 8GB of RAM, the limited ports, no keyboard backlight, slower charging. While not deal breakers, these are things that you do need to be aware of before going in. So the question isn't, is the MacBook Neo good? Because it is. In fact, it's great. The real question is it right for you? If you're a casual user, a student, or someone who just wants a reliable, solid MacBook for browsing, emails, documents, media, this is honestly one of the easiest recommendations Apple has ever made. You're getting the true MacBook experience, the design, the ecosystem, and the longevity, all at a price that we've never seen before. But if you're a power user, editing 4K projects, doing heavy multitasking, needing lots of ports, this probably isn't the Mac for you. And that's okay, because Apple has the MacBook Air, and even better, the MacBook Pro for that. For everyone else, the Neo really hits an interesting sweet spot. Compared to the Windows side at $599, it's going to be very hard to find anything that is as complete as this. So is the $599 MacBook Neo too good to be true? Honestly, no. But this is a balance of some real wow moments and a few reality checks, and I think that for most people, this balance is absolutely worth it. Apple compromised in the right areas to keep the price low, but the quality of the overall product high. If you want a MacBook for everyday use at a great price, this is the one I'd recommend. Let me know if you have any questions at all, and as always, I will leave the purchase links down below. And if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend you check out my MacBook Neo First Things to Do video to get the most out of this small but mighty machine. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.